USA Finals. You have asked for it all day long, and finally it is here. It is the League of Legends Championship match. I'm DJ Wheat. Joining me is Freak. How's it going, buddy? Glad to have you here. And we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping here before we get started. Many people might, go, what exactly is this? We're going to talk about the teams, have you talk a little bit about the competition that led up to this. However, a couple of key things. Number one, we got a winner already from the StarCraft 2 exhibition match for the Samsung Solid State Drive, and a plastic cow, APLASTICOW, is the winner. So a plastic cow, you need to follow WCG_Aaron and DM him, give you your information. You will be the proud owner of one of these Samsung Solid State Drives. Also, I just got some really cool news, and I'm always a big fan of companies that don't necessarily settle for just PC as their only platform. I just got told moments before we went on air that actually a Mac version is on the way for League of Legends. Yes. And I think a lot of people will be really excited for that. I think that's phenomenal. So big ups to Riot for supporting beyond the PC for gaming. I think that's great. Just get some more people into the game too.
Yeah, absolutely. People are really excited to hear that we're launching the Mac mode, and right now it's in beta testing. We have a little sub forum for the feedback on it. We've added a few beta testers and stuff like that. So we're going through it, and it's getting close to release. And we're working on some new technology as well. It's going to be really cool. That I can't give a lot of details about, but
I can prod and push, right? But there was some stuff has to stay secret. So we've got two teams, and Freak, I'd really love it if maybe you could break down these teams, explain how exactly the road that these guys took to make it to this point.
Okay, so the road to World Cyber Games North America was 2 to 3 steps. To start out, we have ranked games with visible ranking systems and wins and losses, and you play for keeps. And so what we did is we said, okay, if you're in the top 1,500 in these ranked games, go ahead and make a team, just to help select players who are really serious about the game and really were going to be good and not waste anyone's time. And then they played a double elimination online tournament to get down to these top 2 teams, which is Counter Logic Gaming and the team formerly known as Hawkshot GG are going to be called Epic Gamer for this one. And they got themselves down, and CL Gaming, Counter Logic Gaming, came from the winner's bracket, and so they're in the advantage here.
Okay.
And Epic lost to them in the winner bracket at some point, so they've come down through the loser's bracket, and they're back to the grand finals, which means that this match here is a best of 3 with a 1-game advantage.
Okay.
So CLG could win 1-0, and that's it, and they're off to the grand finals, or Epic Gaming can win 1 and tie it up, and then it's for keeps the next game afterwards.
All right, fantastic. And I also know what these guys are going to be winning just for claiming victory up here on the stage. The first place team is going to get $2,000 large and 5 of the Samsung Solid State Drive hard drives at 128 gigabyte. Additionally, they'll get 5 of the Samsung SSD cards that are 8 gigabytes, and I'm sure that you've seen those around the show here this weekend. Second place will get $1,000 to split amongst the team, and 5 of the Samsung SSD 8 gigabyte cards as well. So winners up here regardless of whether you're on the winning or losing team, but really they want the championship spot because that means they get to progress on. Yeah. So, with that being said, explain to us how exactly we're going to get started here, and let's get underway.
Okay, so the game is League of Legends, and for those of you who play League of Legends, this will be pretty redundant for you, but the game is sort of based off of the very popular Warcraft 3 map, Dota. And if you're not familiar with that, I'll take a step back as well. DJ Wheat described it to me about 5 minutes ago as a 20-minute MMO. You started at level 1 on your champion, and you kill minions and monsters and enemy champions and turrets, and that farms you gold and experience. So you level up to 18, learning a skill along the way. You have an ultimate with 3 levels, and then 3 other skills with 5 levels apiece, which adds up to 18 for the math mages out there. And everything you kill, you get gold, so you buy health, armor, magic resist, damage, attack speed, critical chance, ability power, movement, all that kind of fun stuff. And so, depending on your skill at last hitting minions or killing enemy champions, or your ability to not die in lane so you can soak up experience, you'll start getting ahead and farther ahead of your opponents. And being a team game, you've got sort of team play objectives where, if you get this one objective, everyone gets golden experience, or this one guy might get a buff, and if he's a caster, he wants the golem buff so he can cast more spells. And you have these really awesome objectives around the map that you're constantly trying to get, and these little quests you're doing along the way, and they respawn, you do them again, and everyone knows they exist. You've got this tug and pull as people come back and forth trying to get the objectives, trying to kill a turret.
Right.
Oh no, he might get ganked. Oh, he's in the brush, watch out, let's reveal that. And you have this really cool team play going on throughout that.
So it is a 5-on-5 competition for those of you that don't know. know. And are we gonna actually witness the champion selection happen, or how exactly does that work here?
So we've already had the players draft their champions out at the beginning, off stage beforehand, and I do have the lineups here for you, which I'll go over in a second. We might cover them during the loading screen, or maybe not. But they do have their champions ready. When we have this to go, they'll just start. We'll hit champion select. They'll grab the guys they already selected, and we'll jump right into the game from the loading screen.
Okay, now I actually have one other question, because of course I've been playing this, and my wife's been getting into it too. Do the relics and the masteries, do they actually affect like the game as we're going to be playing it right here?
Yeah, they're really, really huge. One of our players, Dan, he's on Epic, was actually telling us, you didn't give me enough of that free in-game cash to buy all my runes. I need some more. I have like 700 rune pages that I make. I need to be specialized. And so there's an MMO element behind the game League of Legends. There's a persistent summoner system, as we call it, where you as a player level up to 30, and you just gain experience every game, win or lose. You just get to 30 after a few hundred games. And you get rune slots and mastery points, and so you'll have a rune page where you'll get a lot of armor penetration and some mana regeneration and some cooldown reduction. But what if your champion doesn't use mana, or you just don't really need a lot more of it? Well, let me swap out mana regeneration for a critical chance.
Right.
Let me get some move speed on these quintessences over here. And so these players will have a lot of rune pages, and of course they've already selected their champions, so they have their one rune page really set up, and you can switch between multiple ones anyway. Your gear setups, and they've also got their mastery set up as well. Some will make these neutral buffs last longer, like the golem buff I mentioned earlier, or you'll run faster or better cooldown. So there's a really big customization element. It's like, I want to play Teemo, let me get all this stuff going on.
Okay, good. That's good to know. I wasn't sure if it was something that was specific only to sort of the ladder and how it was going, but it seems to be applied across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, great. So I'm excited for this. I know the crowd's excited for this. The stream is excited for this. So how do we officially get started? Are you going to be kicking us off here?
I believe you have the chat prompts. If you want to tell them to start, I don't have chat right here.
Okay, let's do this. That's what I'm typing there.
Yeah, scrolling down. I believe everyone's running the game. Everyone's on the right teams. Tell them that they're good to start. I don't know if we have an admin who can yell at them. But Araragi is the host.
Yep, letting them know that we are good to start.
Okay, he knows.
The championship match here between these two teams. And I have to choose the right one.
Far left, there you go. And you have the spell. Yeah, we're good. Lock in. Okay, so we are in the champion select right now. Both players have already selected their champions and are getting ready to start out. This is going to be really, really exciting. We're going to see the teams coming up. And we're just waiting for the champion select to end. We've got about a minute left until they start locking in. Then we have the load screen, and I can cast out their summoner spells and all those exciting details as we move on. So really, this is the waiting game, unfortunately. But I'll cast out some of the lineups real quick.
Sure.
So, like I said, this was a draft mode off the screen, so people were picking and banning champions. Basically, each team bans 2 champions, and they take turn picking 1 or 2 champions at a time. So Epic Gamer had the choice of being the first ban or the first pick, and they gave first ban to Counter Logic, meaning they got to pick the first champion. This mumbo-jumbo means that they banned out some champions. They said, I don't want to play against this guy, but I do want to play him. So CL Gaming banned Twitch and Kog'Maw. Those were their 2 bans. Those are ranged physical carries. They scale really, really heavily into late game. They're really, really late game superpowers. And CLG was like, no, we don't want to deal with that. We'll play a tighter early game. And Epic banned Ezreal and Taric. And Ezreal is this really long-range carry as well. He has really, really good poking abilities. His main ability, Mystic Shot, has really good range, does a lot of damage, and he just runs around sort of throwing arrows at people. And their other ban was Taric, and Taric is probably considered one of the best support champions in the game, and he's really good at laning. He has a heal and a stun. Later on in the game, he gives his team area of effect, just bonus damage. He's really, really powerful. So both teams banned out those 4 champions, and then Epic went for first pick Vladimir. And Vladimir is a champion that we haven't seen a lot in competitive play. A lot of these a lot of our top players do tier lists for what they think are the best champions in the game. And Vladimir's never been like, oh man, you must get him or you lose. So it's really cool seeing that picked off right off the bat.
Gentlemen, not to interrupt you, but one of you is in the observer slot, or you're not in the slot according to Mr. Network or something. So you're
one of the players rejoined, and he's now below me in the slot. So we want to restart this to get myself in there, or is this a big deal? Yeah, do we want to restart it or no?
Just working this out here real quickly.
Okay. Should be okay.
All right, should be okay.
Yeah, he can play. He just will be not on the scoreboard. He can play.
All right. getting it worked out.
Yep.
New
well.
observer mode for League of Legends, and talking a little bit about this. Really excited. I just love companies that try to build things that are going to be beneficial to the competitive community, and this is just one of the things that's Riot's is doing. So hopefully I have gone in correctly as well. And I'm good to go?
Yeah, you're okay. Okay, so what we've done right here, hopefully the players can't hear me too well. So one interesting thing is, because these big camps, what you're going to see right here on my screen is where one of these big important camps spawn. I talked before about the Golem buff. There's also the Lizard buff, which makes your attacks slow enemies that you hit. And these last 2.5 minutes, unaugmented. And so a lot of games start out early on where people know, oh, well, this is going to spawn at 1 minute 55. It's really important. If we get this right at the spawn, it's really, really awesome. We're going to have this huge advantage. And so players will camp out, or they'll buy sentry wards, and they'll try to scope out the opponents and figure out what's their best way at achieving these objectives. Right from the beginning of the game, people are setting up for their objectives. So basically, you're going to see a lot of this sort of map control game where they're going to kind of bait each other from the fog of war and say, well, I can see you. If you come for this, I'm going to do stuff to you. And there's really interesting spreads going on. So I'll be following Team Epic down here. They'll have the green health bars. I'll cast out the lineups right now, since we've gotten that started off. I went through the bans, but not the picks. So Epic Gaming has Araragi on Nunu, Dan on Tristana, Excessive on Garen, Salse on Vladimir, and Graphic on Janna. For Team CLG, we have Chowster on Morgana, Elements on Scion, Big Fat GG on Ashe, Kobe24 on Amumu, and Hotshot GG is playing Needly. So we're going to wait for these players to get into their lanes, and then I'm going to call out where they are. Just in case the players can hear me on stage, we're going to make sure that we're not giving any unfair advantages out. So Big Fat GG is playing Ashe, and Ashe is another long-range physical carry. She's going to be their main carry for this game. The concept of a carry, by the way, is similar to a rogue from most MMOs, where it's a very high damage but frail champion. Now Ashe has the benefit of being ranged, so she'll do a lot of damage from range, and she has a couple stuns and slows and stuff, so that should be very useful. Right now, she's actually being babysitted by the Amumu, who's standing right above her. Normally, he will run off and try to kill some of these minions as well.
So can you just give a basic breakdown of, like, the minions and et cetera, the objectives, what ultimately are these teams trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
For those that haven't played yet.
Yeah, okay, so there are two teams, the purple team and the blue team, which you can see by the color-coded minions here, and they just run down these lanes. You can see, if you want to see my mouse in the bottom corner, they come down one side and then off to the left, and there's a middle lane in this diagonal, and then a top lane which goes over and down as well. So there's 3 main lanes, as these minions will just completely just dive forward suicidally against each other. And these lanes are dotted by these turrets. These turrets do a lot of damage, are very durable, and are extremely lethal to champions early on in the game. So these sort of keep the lanes confined to these small areas sometimes. And then as that goes on, the players are going to try to last hit against those minions. If you score the killing blow against one of the minions, you get gold. Depending on what it is, it could be 15, 35, and that scales up along the game. You'll get extra gold and experience for killing these. And additionally, of course, you're fighting against the players as well, so as that goes on, you'll try to land a stun or a slow and silence someone and try to get some damage on, and if you get kills, that's worth a lot of gold. It's worth about 20 minion kills. So that's a very, very heavy objective. And as that goes on, they're also, as these turrets are very valuable. Not only are they durable and damaging, but they're worth global gold and experience to the entire team. So whether your lane's doing well, you can still benefit the rest of your teams by doing really good stuff against these turrets. Additionally, there are other really good objectives. This is the dragon down here is basically similar to the turret. It's worth global gold and experience, but there's a lot of these neutral minions, these neutral monsters around the map that will give you a buff, or give your team buff, or give your team experience and gold. And that's one of the main things you'll see. For example, you'll see a guy, and the role's called a jungler, someone who spends their time in the jungle, in the forest, and kills these high value objectives to get themselves ahead in the game. And you'll see them try to gank and do all kinds of cool stuff. So right here, we're going to follow Araragi is a jungle Nunu running around trying to creep out the various things. And you'll see these champions will come into the lanes and actually start ganking the opponents. And they're really the catalyst for early battles, where they'll have these really sweet buffs that let them cast spells and slow enemies, and they're the ones who are going to come in and do some really cool stuff.
So also, can you explain to me a little bit about the splitting with the champions and like why you would choose to say put these players playing this lane, and then ultimately, is it just a matter of the tug of war? Is all we're trying to do here in the early game build up our XP, build up our gold, and then ultimately just try to push forward as much as possible?
Yeah, the early on can sometimes be a farming game where, you know, the turrets are much more powerful than the champions, but champions scale up faster than turrets do. So eventually you can kind of ignore the turrets. But yeah, early on you're really trying to farm some gold. You'll see actually bottom lane has a lot of harassment going on back and forth. You see both these players a little bit low on mana as they've been spamming their stuns on Garen repeatedly, but Garen's really good at healing himself. He has already chugged... Actually, he's not chugged a potion. He bought a ward early on. But the point is, yeah, you will sometimes see the players harass each other back and forth. You can see Vladimir in middle has actually now gotten down below half health. So the players will come in and try to harass each other as best they can, but no one wants to die because turrets are really good and because you can pull the aggro from minions. Harassing can get you hurt, so you have to be very smart about it. As for the actual laning choices, top lane is very secluded. Top lane is obviously very far from anywhere else. There's only really one main entrance. So this is where a lot of the late game type carries will come in. So the Tristana played by Dan Din is really, really late game. He's very, very scaled. Oh, and here's some aggression on Hotshot GG. Will he be able to pick him off? Hotshot getting very, very low, hit by Rocket Jump, but he's going to be back now. Going to toss some heals back on himself. He should have rank 3 healing. Needly is a self-healing champion. It's very good support as well as carry ability. But Dan Din putting on some early pressure. Doesn't have a lot of mana, but Hotshot is now about to half, so Tristana can put some more damage here. And like I said, Tristana is a late game carry. Scales very, very well with items. Scales well with experience and gold. But Amumo's showing up, and there's that gank right there. He's going to land the bandage toss. He has to, and an Ash arrow across the map. Dan Din getting crushed. There's the rocket jump, but still getting slowed by Lizard Buff. Oh, a summoner teleport, and here comes Nunu, and Nunu's going to slow Hotshot GG onto Kobe as well, but looks like Hotshot's going to be okay. Wow. But Tristana, an amazing escape. Ash with the most legit arrow of my life. GG, quite the player. But so Araragi is going to take over the lane for now. Tristana gets out, and a very good teleport from him. Throws a snowball onto Hotshot. Good play there. But basically, these lanes, as they keep churning out minions constantly, you don't want to put that to waste. All you have to do is be near, and you get the experience. If you're nearby, you get experience. So if you don't want to let those lanes stay, you know, untouched, and their riches going to waste. So Araragi doing some more harass. The really cool thing about him is he has both an ability called Ice Blast, which slows a target, but he has the Lizard Buff as well, meaning that his auto attacks also slow. So against someone like Needly, who's normally really fast, he has that 1-2 combo of 2 slows, and it makes them really easy to chase enemies.
Is there a lot of team communication going on in terms of, like, for example, in that last battle that we just saw, it's like, you know, we've got an opportunity, transition from middle lane over to the far right lane.
Yeah,
is there a lot of that going on?
Absolutely, yeah. So one of the main things is players will put wards down on the map, and you can see me revealing them on the minimap and focusing down on these wards, which just reveal an area about this big, so you can see when guys are coming across the map. So if you know your jungler might be in danger, or top lane might be taking some hits, you'd be like, hey, there's a guy coming up there, be careful, you know, stuff's going on. Especially in these dual lanes down here. And actually, Morgana and Sion are doing quite well. You can see John is super low this time. He's going to actually have to recall back in the base. And Garen's going to try to hold the lane for himself. But especially these dual lanes, and especially with junglers, you're going to have these calls where you're like, oh man, stuff's going on, be careful, you know, we're going to go for this guy, here's some stuff going on. And they'll coordinate these moves. And especially in the case of that jungler, like, I will guarantee you, Amu said, okay, I'm going to gank, get ready. And so he went into the battle, and Ash was like, all right, I got this. And they called him to arrow up top. And so he led the arrow, and Amumu made sure to stun him right in front of where the arrow was going to land. He probably pinged, oh, the arrow's going to go right here. Stuns Tristana when he stands there, and sure enough, he's stunned. Arrow comes in, stuns him again, and that was probably the exact coordination they were going for. Was here's where I'm going to place it, you know, stun him when he gets there, and that was how their gank was set up.
How important are the roles? I mean, obviously the towers are very beastly, especially early on. But I mean, how crucial is it to always make sure that you're never going to let those towers go down?
So people will definitely try to make sure that their lane is strong. Pushing a lane actually has a benefit and a detriment. So if you push up, which we saw Tristana, right? Tristana was up here, and Amumu just walked right up and stunned him from the back. And so if you push your lane to the turret, you are leaving your backside very, very open. Now, Tristana's a pretty safe champion. She's fast. She has rocket jump. You're okay to push as Tristana. But for someone like Ash doesn't have a lot of escape tools. If you push up and Amumu ganks you, you're in trouble. However, because, again, these turrets do so much damage, and last hitting the minion is worth gold, there's this little game where, there's some more harassment on Hotshot GG, pushing him back again, that buster shot, putting her down a little bit down to half health, but again, Tristana can heal, so Dan's kind of wasting some mana by doing this. But by pushing up to the turret, which we're seeing pretty much here repeatedly, is this turret does more damage than a champion. So if you can't, you know, really, really expect how much damage these turrets will do, you'll lose last hits to the turrets. And these players are so good, if you're just sitting in the middle of the lane against minions, you'll get like 95% of the minions every time. And you'll see guys And you probably see about 65 minion kills on these carries. 63 from the Tristana, there's 70 from Ashe. These guys are getting, you know, a good 80+% of the minions every time they spawn, which is really good. But against the turret, that is really hard to do. Oh, an amazing, here's a lot of damage on this Morgana, and there's the Demacian Justice. First blood by Garen. Sorry I missed most of that, but there was the lead up probably with the John Tornado. Garen running in there with the silence and then spitting of doom. And yeah, there's Demacian Justice picking off Morgana. There's the first kill. So Epic Gaming, actually the underdogs, they're down 1 game in this, up 1 kill to 0 so far, picking up first blood. Okay, and here's some of that more team cohesion. I'll call this out in a little bit. So you can see the jungler, but you see this buff is really, really important. And I'll talk really loud, really quietly. Okay, there we go. So Nidalee is one of the main carries for Team CLG, and she has now picked up the lizard buff. And that's really, really huge because she's fast, and when she can slow people, that is dangerous. And now she has run up to Tristana. There's the Buster shot. Tristana will try to run away, and CLG actually will not commit to that. I think they might be afraid of the Nunu with teleport. Nunu could show up and try to gank that, but I'm actually a little bit surprised that Nidalee didn't go for more pressure there. She can self-heal and do all kinds of cool stuff.
Is the aura last throughout the game?
The aura lasts 2.5 minutes unless you spec for it. So we talked about masteries earlier in the game, and one of the masteries which I assume Nidalee has is 30% bonus duration on these buffs, which would put it up to about 3.5 minutes, which is really, really big. So okay, well, Nunu trying to do some harassment onto Ashe, not doing too much there. Going to back up for now. But yeah, so bottom lane trying to recoup their losses. Sion still kind of low, just with the Doran's shield. Probably will. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to recall for some health. But the players are going to try to start positioning for some of these objectives. I think it's going to start happening pretty soon as we're going to see some larger fights for these major objectives like the Dragon and possibly like a turret as well. As we hit the 11.5 minute mark, you start seeing more of these team fights. And Hotshot, yes, he sees Araragi. There's the slow for the lizard buff, just misses the spear throw. But he's going to back off now. Vladimir saw her as well. He's going to back off. Vladimir actually hasn't bought some items yet. He's actually still staying in mid, just farming the entire time. And yeah, he's up to 78 minion kills, which is really strong, but surprisingly enough, actually behind Ashe in minion kills. So Big Fat GG, probably actually the highest ranked player in the game back before ranked 1, actually had the highest elo from normal games. And okay, here we go. So some important stuff going on. No one quite knows what's going on though, so I can't call it out too hard. But some main objectives are getting dropped down right here. Very good job by CLG. So they've picked that up. You can see Sion's over now. Ashe is holding mid lane against Vladimir. Tristana now coming down, trying to see what's going on. And really, you know, Epic, despite getting that first blood, haven't been very cohesive around the map after that first gank and teleport. Oh, but here's the push onto Ashe. Ooh, a very nice flash from Ashe, but there they go. Tosses the stun back into Tristana's face, pushing her back. But that flash actually dodged the rocket jump, which is really huge. When Tristana rocket jumps, when she lands, it slows the area she lands in, meaning that if she landed on top of Ashe, that would have been really, really painful for her. But a very well-timed flash is one of the summoner spells in this game, which I'll go into in a minute, actually pushed her out of the area of that. But bottom lane has some fighting going on. There's a Janna shield going back onto Garen. Garen's going to be okay for now, farming some minions off. But some aggression going on. He does have his first Sunfire cape, and that is a pretty fast Sunfire cape. What that does is give you health and armor and do just bonus damage in an area around you. Everything you touch just starts burning up for 40 damage a second, which is really not chump change at all. It's really nice on Garen especially. He really specializes in just standing next to enemies. Okay, here we go. There's the ghost. There's the silence, but oh, a great stun from Sion. It's going to drop him back. So Excessive not going to get any more damage done here. Had burned his ghost really for nothing ultimately. But Nunu and Nidalee do see each other. They're going to back off for now though. Tristana now actually kind of top against Mumu, which is interesting. I'm surprised there's no carries up top. Nidalee trying to exercise some map control, running around this map. Okay, there we go. Nidalee has found Nunu. They've got to be careful about this. Garen is shown back up. Nidalee's going to run away, most likely. But this is going to be a little bit dangerous. They're getting flanked now. Drops another ward down. And yes, Vladimir does see Nidalee. They've got to be careful. She's going to jump that wall and going to be fine. Yeah, so Nidalee's main buff is movement. She's really, really fast, can jump over walls, or at least, you know, short walls in Cougar form, which is really, really awesome for her. But Tristana just solo farming top, which is very, very good for Epic. They really want Dan to get super late farm. He's going to have to actually catch up to Ashe most likely. Dan at 96 kills, but Ashe at 102, so Ashe is actually a little bit ahead. But a lot of damage going off onto Ashe now. Ashe does not have flash, does have Ghost though. Can Excessive keep chasing her down? Will lend the silence. Okay, there we go. Nidalee has shown up, tosses the heal, but Tristana's back as well, and there's Nunu with the teleport. There's a slow, and Mumu has shown up as well, and they do pick off Ashe, but there's the Mumu ultimate. Will they pick off any more? Oh, there's Hemo Plague from Vladimir. They're going to back off now, so that is a 2-0 kill score. Very nice from Epic Gaming. However, they have lost Dragon though, so despite getting 2 kills, you might think that's really awesome. They're really winning, but they're not winning the map. Map control is really huge, and objectives like Dragon are actually worth 2 champion kills just in golden experience worth. Mumu coming back now, onto forcing this turret down, and this is going to be a little bit dangerous. Garen taking some damage, Sunfire Cape pulling that turret aggro. Hotshot's going to be okay for now though, last hitting these minions against the turret. There we go with takedown. Bottom lane is actually pretty dangerous right now. So Chilster and Element's going to have a lot of AoE damage. You see, just blows up that entire minion wave using Scion's Shield and Morgana's Tormented Soil. And there we go. There's pressure onto this turret. Now, Janna can shield turrets, but that's not too durable. They've broken through that now, and this turret will go down. So CLG winning on map control. And now I can't stress that enough. That is a lot of extra benefit for the entire team. Golden experience is huge. And the champion kills are, of course, worth a lot. They're worth a lot of gold, but experience is often the best thing in the world. Uh-oh. Hotshot has found Arwagi, but does not get the dragon down. Oh, just barely gets the golem just in time, but getting chased. Hotshot doing some pretty good damage here. Arwagi will get away with that catalyst. We'll keep him alive. Hotshot going to back off for now, move back around the map. But you can see a lot of these wards. You can see here's a ward right here. Another ward down there. CLG doing a very good job of warding off these really important spots. And across you can see some more wards from Epic Gamer. So map control really just super huge, and I can't keep stressing that. You know, as these players get across the map, again we have Nidalee versus Tristana back up at top. They're going to keep trying to farm. Neither player is quite comfortable with their level of farm right now. They want to get a couple more big items. Really, Nidalee's going to wait for Ginsu's Rage Blade. She has the Blasting One right now, but she's going to go for Ginsu's Rage Blade. And what that's going to allow her to do is have really, really high ability power and really high damage and attack speed. And ability power is a new concept to League of Legends, which allows your spells, your heals, your damage spells just to do more damage and more healing. So you can actually itemize towards your spells, which is really, really useful, so that casters can scale into late game quite well. Nidalee is actually a hybrid champion. She's going for Ginsu's Rage Blade to give her damage and ability power. A little bit of harassment going on down here, but John is a really good babysitter. That tornado goes off, pushes the rest of the enemies back. It's going to be safe for now, but a really good play by CLG because they've now taken over the enemy jungle. You can see that this buff normally on the bottom side of the map is normally Epic Gamers. Right. But a very good push. They're like, okay, this is going to respawn. Let's push down. And they push all the way down. And because of that ward, they knew it respawned. Oh, but nice job. Tristana from Epic Gamer has now pushed down a turret himself. So that's 1-to-1 on turret kills, which is going to put them right back in this game. But losing the buff is pretty big because we're going to see Amumu has a fresh lizard buff. Morgana just landing at the bottom. I'm actually surprised they didn't give Ashe the lizard buff. They might have missed last hit that or something, but really Ashe should be the one holding these really high value buffs because her range is very high. She does a lot of damage. She does really well with the slowing abilities there. So again, more map control. You can see again, just very good play by CLG. Has now done a lot of good things for themselves in the jungle. You can see this buff being held by Nidalee. It's very, very good play. As we're going to wait for the rest of these buffs to respawn because they haven't just yet.
So do they have to pay more attention to the upper lane now that forward tower is down?
Yes, the upper lane is going to be the upper lane up here and the bottom lane are going to be two big points of contention because while you can farm back here and be pretty safe, you've lost a lot of map control. This entire area around the map, you have no vision, you have no idea what's going on, and that's actually going to start playing out. We saw that happen earlier where this turret wasn't safe anymore, and so they got to come down to this jungle, and so players were out of position and they got to take those buffs out. So lost turrets really do mean a lot for positioning. Normally means that you as a farmer, like Nidalee, is going to be pretty unsafe because she doesn't have a turret to run to. So if someone ganks her, she's got to run all the way across this map, all the way back here to get somewhere safe. And so that really does matter. You're very unsafe, but it also does give you some offensive benefits because sometimes the lane will push all the way back, and you'll have some cute little things you can do there. But yeah, so the map's going to start playing out left versus right a little bit more than top versus bottom because the right-hand presence here for Epic is gone with his turret down, and the left-hand presence for CLG is gone as well. So you're going to see you play a little bit more left versus right, and it's going to be really, really useful. Actually, right now it's going to be really useful for CLG because, again, these objectives aren't always symmetrical. Bottom lane is the home of the dragon, and this is going to be probably a big fight coming out here. Ashe is just zoning Epic right now, and again, that's another dragon kill for CLG. So they're actually winning this game right now. Despite not killing a champion yet, they're up 2 dragons to 0, and that is really, really huge. A lot of golden experience now split amongst this team. If you want to check out the levels, you see Ashe is up to level 13, and a level 12 Nidalee are 2 big level champions, and Dan's been solo farming the entire game, so he's 13 as well, and Vladimir really likewise. But the other champions, you can see Nunu at 9, Garen at 10, and Janna at 9 as well, actually quite low compared to Amumu's level 11, Nidalee's up to 12, so the overall level scheme is better for CLG, but the carries for Epic are going to keep them up for now. Right now, actually, three guys in mid is going to be nice for Epic Gaming. They are pulling up Tristana as well. And they might go for this turret. They've got to be a little bit careful. CLG does have a lot of stun. A lot of the most popular champions in this game have really reliable stuns to throw down on enemy targets. And that is worth a lot when you can just pin one guy down and just stun him and stun him and stun him until he dies. And that's super, super useful. So they've got to be a little bit careful about their initiations. But you might see some interesting stuff going on. Uh-oh, here we go. Hotshot does see Dan, but Dan will jump over that wall. Yeah, so mobility is huge, and really, Hotshot could have jumped the wall as well right here. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't. I think he's just got to be a little bit careful. I mean, he does have ward coverage. He really could have gone for that and done some harassment. So both players are actually just really afraid right now. They're playing really, really safe. But Elements does see excessive, and he has no turret next to him. He could have gone for some fighting there, but again, they're going to pull back because I guess they're just not completely confident in their map control right now. But we will probably see some team fights starting up pretty soon as the next objectives are spawning. They have ward coverage on all the major sigil buffs, and that'll be really big.
Now let me ask you, because I've been following along with some of the chat, getting to see what the players are actually saying, and I'm seeing a lot of chat about I'm ready to push. Like, let's make the big push. What exactly are they talking about? Like, what is the big push that they're trying to make you think?
So the big push is basically this keys off of really key items. So Ash actually doing a bit of a slower build, actually going for a fast brutalizer and then going for the big concept items like Infinity Edge. You're probably going to see GG go for an Infinity Edge. And when you have that item, that is the single most expensive offensive physical damage item in the game. And when you have that, your damage output is freaking huge. Your critical strikes hit 50% harder. You have 80%, like 80 more damage per hit. Like, you just do a crap ton of damage. And when you have that, you're like, all right, dude, I'm Ash, I'm in God mode. Like, let's go, we're gonna win this game. And you're usually gonna see him key off of really huge items like that. And it might be, the first team to get Aegis of the Legion. It might be the first team to get even Ginsu's Rage Blade for Needly. And so I'm actually a little bit surprised that both players.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
okay, yeah, I appreciate that. So you might see these key items come in really big. But here we have a little bit of action going on. You can see Needly kind of flanking around the back. Can they get enough damage off the Vladimir? There's a lot of harassment going down into a blood pool. But Garen's in the middle of everything, and there's the Mumu ultimate. Are they going to pick off Garen? He's getting quite low, down to half. And there's the Ash stun. Oh, Morgana showing up, and the entire team just crushes down onto him. Amazing job by CLG. So they have prepared themselves for that big push, finding one guy out in the open.
Yeah, he said all go mid, and that's exactly, I guess, what unfolded right there.
Yeah, it's a very nice job there. They actually blew quite a few ultimates there. Morgana and Amumu both ultimated, and Ash as well. So those are the three large ultimates that really matter in this game. Those are the three. They've stunned Araragi. Will they pick him off? And an amazing banish shot. Hits Graphic, but he's going to have to back off for now. Graphic pushing him back with the ultimate. Oh, and he did die to Ignite. So Araragi has fallen, pulling the score to 2-2 with, again, those 2 dragon kills earlier on by CLG. So amazing job there. So with a score of, with basically 5 champions alive versus 3, they're probably going to be able to start pushing in and do some damage to this turret if they're feeling up for it. So again, some more damage down onto Saul. Saul's getting pushed back a little bit as Vladimir, but Morgana doing some good stuff there. The tremendous soil, picking off these minions real quick, farming some gold, pushing the turret up. Another major objective has now spawned over here. Kobe and Big Fat Gigi going for this. There's a smite, and who's going to go for it? Looks like, okay, they're going to give it to Ash. All right, so Ash is going to have this golem buff, and that's going to be really cool for her because she has one of her key spells is called Volley. That's a very, very short cooldown, which just throws out a bunch of arrows in a cone in front of her, pretty long range. That's a really good poke spell. And for someone, basically, there's a really big complexity going on. Araragi is a champion that has a really, really big channeled ultimate that's really, really powerful, and it's called Absolute Zero. If you can channel it for the full duration, you will just blow everything up on the screen. However, it is, again, a channeling spell, meaning that if you stun him, he'll lose it and get part of the damage, only a small fraction. Now, Araragi is going for an item called the Banshee's Veil, and the Banshee's Veil gives him this blue shield around him which will block one spell. And most of the spells that these guys have on CLG are stuns. And so he'll just straight block a stun, which is awesome and makes the Banshee's Veil worth it. The one caveat is if you have Ash with Volley, that counts as a spell as well. So you can spam that out there and just try to drop down that Banshee's Veil. And so they're giving her Golem buff partially for that reason, so she can make sure they don't have these shields up and just go right into it.
So you could, I definitely see this, that there's a lot of battling over the auras and over those various mobs in the middle that give you those benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these buffs are constantly warded, and they also have a summoner spell right here called Clairvoyance, which just reveals the area for a short time. So they're really, really relying on map control, and this is actually this is really good for Epic. So Dan has that Infinity Edge that I talked about. He has Lizard buff, and they are picking down Morgana pretty quickly. They're in pretty good shape. Vladimir actually not going for a fast Rylai's Scepter. That actually surprised me a little bit. Normally, Vladimir will rush this item called Rylai's Crystal Scepter, which makes all your spells slow the targets they hit, which is really good for crowd control. And Vladimir has a lot of really low cooldown spells. They can constantly output the slow on all their enemies. But instead going for a couple of mid-tier items first. Both teams actually doing that, which surprises me. Big Fat GG going for the Brutalizer. But Dan, rushing that Infinity Edge is really going to be a big advantage for them. I think this is really their time to push. And you can see that they are grouping in mid. You can see everyone's really close by. They're going to try to take these buffs as best they can. And you can see, the 5 players from CL Gaming chilling right here as well. And they're going to be at a stand-up for a short time until they get their objectives really planned out. So, okay, Dark Binding just barely misses Vladimir. And here we go. There's another ward. And both teams know what's up. This is going to be very, very clever. So let's see what they can do. Nidalee and Morgana trying to zone them away. And there we go. Yes, Amumu and Sion on top of it. Here we are. Okay, so that is Nunu taking the Dark Binding to the face. That's not good for him. But Dragon is still only at half, and here they go. Here they go. Yes, so Garen is up at the back, and he's going for Ashe. We're going to follow that. But here's the Amumu ultimate. And there's the Nunu right there. All the players are inside of that. Absolute zero. And look, so much damage going up. Sauce picking up elements. Nidalee getting dropped down as well. Will she drop down? There's a snowball. There's a Janna. And yes, there's Zephyr with the kill. But over here, Garen is trying to fight Ashe, but is lost to Ashe. CLG winning that fight right there. And they're trying to chase down. And yes, they have picked off Morgana. Amazing job there. A double kill from Sauce, up to a killing spree. So Sauce picking up 3 kills there as Vladimir. Amazing play from him. And if you look at the scoreboard, that is only 2 kills from Epic Gaming. They still have 3 players alive, but only Ashe is up for CLG. Only Ashe is alive. So that was a 4-2 fight. And they didn't get Dragon, so that objective is null and void, but they're getting this mid turret right here. And unfortunately, Tristana did die, but Nunu gives a bunch of attack speed to his teammates when he casts Blood Boil. That's a really huge buff. And yes, that turret is gone now. So that is 1 and 2 turret kills for Epic, but only 1 kill for CLG. And, oh man, they're going to pick up some more key objectives. This Dragon is just worth so much this game. And the players should have headsets, not quite hear this. They're a little bit afraid. Oh, they did get revealed. They had to be a little bit careful there. It looks like they're going to back off for now.
Can you tell me about that? Was Vlad's ultimate, right?
Yeah.
That pretty much wrecked everyone.
Yes.
Can you explain to me exactly what that ultimate does?
Okay, so there was a synergy going on right there. So Vladimir has an ultimate called Hemo Plague, which infects everyone in an area about this big, and it makes them, whenever they take damage, they take bonus damage for like 10 seconds. And after that 10 seconds, they'll explode for some more damage. It's a really awesome ultimate. It wins fights. But Araragi over here, as Nunu, cast his ultimate called Absolute Zero. He channeled in the brush, big snowballs came out, and everyone took a huge crap ton of damage right at the end of it. And those guys were all affected by Hemo Plague at the same time, which is huge. And so they took this giant, huge channel to the face, and it hurt bad. And that was bad stuff. But here we go. So Hawkshot comes out. Oh, they have grabbed Baron Nashor. So there's the other really big objective on the map. CLG grabs the Baron belt. They have all these purple squiggles around them, which gives them ability power, it gives them damage, it gives them bonus regeneration, and just for killing it, they all got a ton of experience in gold. And they noticed that Epic's map control was really, really lacking, and so they showed up, and Araragi coming up, teleporting to the front trying to slow someone, but doesn't manage to catch anyone with his slows, unfortunately. So CLG will get away from that completely free. Now Dan still has his Infinity Edge. He is still quite farmed. Oh, there's the Ashe arrow. Hits Dan in the face. He's got to be careful. He takes the Janna shield. What will they be okay? Gets another stun, and yes, does drop down. And a Mumu ultimate as well. The entire team is ready to jump down on this. This could be a very good fight. There's the new ultimate. Will they get any kills? Does not hit much of anyone, but they are doing a lot of damage out here. No, there goes Vladimir, and there goes a lot more damage. Garen chasing down onto Ashe as best he can, but a Mumu chasing Nunu down a little bit. Will they get any more damage out? But you can see that both players have lost 2 teammates so far. So far that's okay for Epic. And there's a slow onto a Mumu. A Mumu taking some damage right in the face from Garen, but excessive, getting dropped down by Ashe as well. It's 3v3, but and an amazing set from a Mumu. And yes, there's a pick off. Good job by Gigi. That Brutalizer really making his volleys hit quite hard, gives him cooldown reduction and bonus damage and armor penetration. So good stuff there. They are now 7 kills to 8, so CLG isn't winning in champion kills, but they're up 2 dragons, they're up Baron, and they're only down 1 turret, which is really quite huge. So CLG winning this game for now. They're up in levels, they're up in gold, but I mean they still have the chance to lose this game as Dan is getting quite farmed. You can see Tristana down here now has a green elixir. That's very good. So Dan is still quite farmed. He's quite powerful, and really he's going to be the big key. They lost last fight really because Dan got picked off first. But if he gets himself in a position in the next fight, and Tristana's special because she has really long basic attack. She has the longest basic attack in the game. So, and she's pretty high level, so that attack is actually quite long now. And if he can get himself in a position, he will just wreck faces constantly. And so they really have to rely on keeping Dan safe. And again, they have, oh my god, another Ashe arrow across the map. Actually, I did not steal the lizard buff. They were trying for that. Ashe was trying to land the splash damage from that arrow to steal the buff. Doesn't quite get it. But they are taking down the dragon right now. The team has shown up. Both teams know what's up, but a lot of advantage to CLG. That's their 3rd dragon kill of the game. They're doing very, very well on these neutral monster objectives. Hotshot a little bit aggressive. Got to be careful.
They seem to have some good coordination. I'm watching the chat. They seem to know exactly when things are up. Obviously, they've got the wards in place to be able to catch that. But ultimately, if I could even point out one difference, it seems like CLG is really on top of that map control.
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing really well. They've gotten every single dragon so far, and actually Saul said we can't give them every dragon, guys. Into chat. There's a lot of these really important things going on. So there you go, Chester in the middle, getting some nice items. Actually went for fast Banshee's Veil. I'm a little bit surprised by that item choice. Normally you see like a Zhonya's Ring rush really fast, a lot of bonus ability power and the vulnerability for her ultimate. But they are pushing down into the mid lane, and they know what's up. So here we're going to see this fight go on. And there's Dan off to the side, poking Nidalee extremely hard, but does catch a bind to the face. They've got to be careful. Elements has some damage. Here we go. Mumu's in the middle of everything. Graphics in there. Oh, there's the Nunu ultimate. That is going to hit people hard. And Morgana goes down, and they're going to drop Cyan as well. Cyan has a shield on. Will they go for him? No. Oh, man, they dropped the Mumu, and Hotshot taking some damage to the face. Will they pick her up? There's another rocket jump. Another hit. Does not crit that one. Will they catch up? Nunu trying to get a slow wall into him. Cannot quite land that snowball. Hotshot is running away as fast as she can, but there's Ashe fighting Janna. Is isolated to the bottom of the map now, and they're going to try to go for this. Now, they got 2 kills for nothing. That's going to bring them right back into this game. The Baron buff will time out, and Gigi going to do a little cute move here. She's actually going to suicide to the turret. If she hasn't been hit by a champion in a while, she's not worth anything to the enemy team. Graphic gets a raise. There's the flash. Yeah, there's the Zephyr. He's going to get full credit for that kill. But careful, Gigi putting out some damage. Oh, that was precarious, but does get that kill. Gets a killing spree bonus as well. Let me pull this up here. Ends the killing spree for bonus gold. So these hyper carries, CLG was winning, was actually losing in champion kills, but certain champions were getting all those kills. You can see that Ashe here at 3 and 2, Nidalee at 2 and 2. Most of these guys getting most of the kills. You can see Morgana, no kills to herself. When you have those killing sprees, you're worth more gold. So that, you want to go for these high value targets who are doing really well. Let's make them pay for that. To help balance out the fact that they're getting all the gold for the kills themselves.
And even more incentive to protect those champions.
Exactly. And you'll see all these games like someone's doing really awesome and they're legendary, they're 10 and 1. You kill them and you're like, oh, we just got 2,000 gold. Let's win the game with our newfound items. And that actually does make for really funny comebacks as well. So more farming going on for these teams. You can see so Kobe's going to go for Randuin's Omen. That's a really, really good anti-carry item. Heart of Gold and Ward's Mail built in. To Randuin's Omen, what that does is you just activate it, and everything in the area is slowed, movement and attack, which is really, really good against someone like Dan Din's Tristana, who's going to be trying to attack just repeatedly for heavy, heavy damage, and just chugging these elixirs trying to keep his stats up. So CLG on the back foot now. Their Baron buff has all gone. They are down now 4 champion kills. The Baron buff is gone, as I said. No dragon on the map. Not a lot of buffs available for taking. So we're going to see probably a large team fight. Epic does want to fight. They're doing quite well so far. And I do actually want to see them win this game, because then we will have a game 2. And I just want to cast more League of Legends. It's just a really awesome game to watch. So really good poking right now. GG and Hotshot. Big Fat GG, Hotshot GG. Really confusing names, of course. Is a really good poke combo. They both have really long range, over 1,000 range spells to just output, and that do really good damage when they land. So they're going to keep poking out, getting rid of Banshee's Veils, putting on some damage, because there are no real dedicated healers for Epic. A lot of guys can heal themselves or put on shields, but there's no dedicated repeated healers on this team. Nidalee is the only healer that really exists on a repeatable basis. So here we go. Aragi jumping in the front, lands a snowball on a Chouster. There's Saul doing some harassment, catches a little bit of damage to the face, but he's going to be okay. Silence Shield is going to dissipate, but he has mana to spare. Not a big problem. Ooh, barely misses that spear onto Dan Din. And yep, they're just moving up this map. Oh, Dark Fighting hits Dan. There's the Ashe arrow. Dan's going to cleanse out of that and jump away. He's going to be okay, but takes a lot of damage. And there's the Nunu ultimate. He's going to zone everyone away. Catches the stun, but Nidalee is super low. And there's the Janna healing out the team. Kobe in the middle of everything as well. Mumu ultimate actually not doing much, but keeping them safe. Aragi in the front, taking some damage. He's got to be a little bit careful. Dan has now caught some health from that Janna ultimate, so they're all pretty healthy now. Most of the ultimates are gone, so it's just up to the straight up fighting. Oh, Graphic in some danger. There's the cleanse. Will they pick off Cyan? Zhonya's ring from Cyan. Going to get away from that Tristana shot and backs up, but no, catches one more shot to the face. Dan Din picking up the kill. Jumps on top of a Mumu. That is dangerous. Taking so much damage. Will they kill a Mumu? Yes, but they do kill Nidalee as well. So that is another kill right there. Dan sacrificing himself, but Nunu dropping down. Ashe picking up that kill. And Garen's got to be kind of careful. That's a little bit too crazy from him. And Saul's getting owned by Ashe right there. That was not the place to be. I don't know why they kept going in for that fight. That was really, really silly. And we're going to just watch Ashe chase down this Garen. Oh, there's the flash across the wall. There's the slow with frost arrows. There's the exhaust, but it doesn't matter as Volley drops him down. Garen gets picked off, and Gigi picking up, I think, 4 straight kills there. Only Janna remaining. So that is huge. And Chouster looking to see, they do have control. And you can see that this tower being down means this tower is available right away. And so much damage is going to go onto this turret. They have a huge double minion wave here. This tower is below half. This tower will go down unless something crazy happens. So Chowster's there, putting on some damage. Not a great auto attacker, but still doing his job quite well. Putting out the damage. There we go. A turret has killed, and the second turret's actually worth more than the first turret. So this was actually more important than those two front turrets they had before. CLG now winning the turret game, winning in Dragons, winning in Baron. They won that last fight, but they are still down 3 kills. That does matter. Both Sauce and Dan are getting pretty farmed. They're getting most of the kills here, which is really, really important. But Big Fat GG, you can see he had that Infinity Edge now. I mean, that really was winning in that fight.
Is there? Are you making up a sort of like a lost traction if you're down on champion kills by getting the dragon? I mean, is there equalizing that's happening right there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of a top player meme called the comeback dragon. We're like, oh, we lost, but they have to heal, so we're gonna go do dragon real quick. Like one of the main things that happens is you win a fight, but you get really low, so everyone recalls the base, heals, and shops, which gives up map control for a good minute and a half. And comeback dragon is a very real thing where dudes are like, dragon's available, let's go. And it works out actually quite well for them. So then there's also snowball dragon where you just have map control, you just keep killing dragon to win the game. But yeah, there are a lot of comeback mechanics. Also, you know, when you're behind, oh, another dark bunny on a Dan. Oh, excessive tanks the arrow form, but here we go, a lot of fights going on. Silence on Morgana is going to be pretty huge. And there's another Nunu ultimate with no stuns available. Elements dropping that Zonia's ring. Araki goes down. And will they kill Elements? Yes, they will. There's the fighting going on. Kobe in front takes some damage, but the Morgana about to kill everyone, but she drops before she gets stunned. Dan going to drop down to the Ash. And yes, does indeed get dropped down, but that is 3 kills to 2. Epic doing quite well. And Sauce is amazingly crushing this game. He's doing so well this game. He's up to some ridiculous score. He's up to, 6, 2, and 7. He's been there for almost every kill. He's gotten credit for most of them. And he is doing amazing jobs right here. Sauce is really carrying their game. Now, Dan's doing some good damage, but he's the first target every time. So Dan, puts out some damage, shoots out people with the Infinity Edge, but then he gets killed. And Sauce is like, no, dog, I got this. I'm Vladimir. And does some really good stuff. So, and despite all that, though, this Ashe with double buff is really huge. This Ashe is super, super beastly. Has Infinity Edge, has Last Whisper, has Brutalizer. And these are like the holy trinity of I will freaking own you items. These are like the items you want to get on a carry. Forget everything else. These are the items you want. So she hits hard. 234 a hit, over 1.7 attack speed, which is huge. Hitting almost twice a second for 240 damage. Critical is about half those shots. And it's just like so much damage output goes on. So both players are acutely aware. Excessive taking some damage from Ashe and Needly. Gonna back off for now. Gonna be okay. Needly dropping a trap down there. She's gonna reveal Excessive some more. But again, both teams had to regroup. They couldn't do Baron themselves because they had 2 to 3 standing members. But both teams got all 5 back at the same time. So both players were like, nah, I know what you're up to. So they've been kind of grouping up and they've been preparing for this objective. You can see just everyone crowding around this. This is really huge. This pretty much this team fight and Baron will probably decide this game.
Okay.
It's very, very likely.
Now, if let's say Epic gets it down, and then you've got CLG on the backside firing, they get the final hit. Like, how is credit awarded for that?
Okay, so credit is only awarded by final hit. So there were a lot of games. There's actually the last tournament back in open beta was actually basically decided by some dude who's chilling behind this ridge as Annie and just dropped Tibbers and managed to steal it twice and won the game because of that. And it was really, really awesome. It was blind, no war, just now, and won the game for them, which was really, really hot. And so right now, they're getting ready. So yeah, the players have grouped up. There's the Clairvoyant, so they do know where Epic Gaming ran to. Hawkshot as well coming out, doing a lot of revealing. And so both players kind of know what's up. So Vladimir's pushing himself towards the top. Vladimir is very good at escaping from fights, but here we go. This is going to be a little bit scary. He's going to back off. Cyan's going to try to pressure him with a stun, but won't go for it. And yeah, so the teams have grouped up. They're being a little bit scared because they do know that whoever loses is going to lose Baron and probably the game. So both teams are being very, very careful about this right now. So they're doing as many cute maneuvers as they can. Ooh, nice job. Needly pops that spear under the brush and gets rid of Araki's Banshee's Veil. And that is a big deal. Tosses another spear down, doesn't land it this time. But Needly has a lot of ability power. This Rage Blade is fully 8 stack, 248 ability power. Those spears are going to hit like a truck. So they've got to be very careful. Another spear going off down, hitting Excessive. But Excessive is the tanky member of that team, but it's not really a big deal that he's taking those shots. But this is going to come to a head pretty soon. Players now grouped up towards middle. Epic feels a little bit more comfortable fighting towards middle, trying to get the enemies out of position. Oh, there's a stun onto Sauce. Sauce will take it. He doesn't care too much. Has a lot of ability power, has a lot of magic resist as well. 182 magic resist. That is really, 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 really heavy. So he's not going to die to spells really anytime soon. Ashe is a really only threat. And, Ashe is really farmed, so that is a big deal. But really, the only character that really have to worry about is Big Fat Gigi's Ashe. And she is super fun. Gets caught by John a little bit. Takes a Zephyr, but it's going to be okay. Oh, here we go. Oh, Nunu is out of position. There's the ultimate. Will not get stunned. Will get the entire ultimate off and does do some crazy damage, but gets dropped down. But there's Vladimir and Garen up at the top, trying to chase down Morgana. Morgana and Nidalee. And yes, indeed, Mumu is getting dropped down by Garen. They will not quite kill him, no. Down to the bottom. Oh, and Big Fat GG has gotten that kill. Elements with the shield up, fighting Graphic, and Graphic not quite winning that fight. Elements just constantly gaining life. There we go. Salsa showing up and finally picks up that kill. But that fight went to CLG, I'm pretty sure. I mean, 2 kills each, but I mean, they killed the really big important targets, Nunu and Dan Din. So that was really, really good stuff. And basically the carries were just alive the entire time for CLG. They lost Morgana and Cyan, and really you can give those up and not care. Neither of them are really getting many kills, so they're worth less and less gold. So if you get a killing spree, you're doing really well and getting a lot of damage, and that's awesome, but you're worth a lot of gold. If you're dying a lot, you're actually worth less gold, so it's going better for if you die. You just don't really care at that point. And so it's good to have the players sort of shift the kills to the right places and do what they can. And so right now, you know, the low impact characters are the ones dying, and so that's awesome for CLG. They're perfectly happy with that. So again, more map control going off here on Mumu, tanking the Blizzard, probably going to give it to GG. And it's just funny watching how far Big Fat GG is getting. He's up to a Guardian Angel now, which means that when he dies, he'll just revive again, like no big problem. And ooh, here we go, important stuff going on. Now, I won't quite cast it out loud in case they can't hear me, but people do know what's going on. Uh-oh, Kobe running out. Oh, okay, Arwagi sees Kobe. They do know Baron's being focused, and they're going to have to back out for now, actually. Hotshot's still hitting it. And yes, okay, they have actually returned, but Salsa is here. And everyone's got to be a little bit careful. Looks like Epic will back off. A ward goes down. They will try to kill it. Yeah, Nidalee will just trap that and kill that ward off. It's going to reveal that ward. And yeah, that gets dropped down. So nice try warding that by Epic, but nothing really gained there. There and Nash are now regenerating back up. You're not allowed to poke him down. You actually have to dedicate yourself to killing him. But the players are grouping up. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like you really have to wait to commit to the Baron, because if you get caught out of positions, come on the flank, there's not much place for anyone to go, and that's why we're seeing really tiptoe around that area. Not committing.
Absolutely. They're really tiptoeing around it because a lot of it is also that this game is worth so much. If you lose this game, you're pretty much out for Epic, and CLG doesn't want to lose one and then be put in that same situation. So they're being very, very careful, more so than they normally would, just because of the circumstances. But they have revealed each other. They do know what's going on. Clairvoyance and Hawkshot doing very good work for CLG. They have such good revealing because of that. It's really, really good for them to have that kind of those kind of situations. But ooh. A little bit of funny stuff going on. Poked at Baron, not too much going on yet. But both teams would have to be very, very careful about their positioning. But yeah, I mean, basically Hawkshot GG is getting so... Big Fat GG getting just so incredibly farmed. I mean, he's got 3 high tier damage items. He's got the Guardian Angel, so that when he dies, he doesn't really die. Here we go. Arwagi jumping in the front, does slow down Ash. Mumu's in the middle, and there's the ultimate, and gets it canceled out a little bit early on. But here we go. The Cyan in the front jumps onto Dan Din. Dan Din takes some damage. There's the Mumu ultimate. Helmet's getting forced to pop his Zonias, but he will get dropped down this time. Dan's going to show back up. Arwagi putting on the snowballs. Will they kill Elements? Excessive kills Big Fat GG through the Guardian Angel. Amazing job by Excessive, just doing so much damage there. They have picked off that Cyan. Very good job by Epic. Excessive getting pushed back. Dan Din jumping on top of Morgana and does get the kill. They will try to get a Mumu as well. Now Nidalee getting away this time, but a Mumu is up in the middle of everything. Gets the exhaust in the base, does get dropped down. Nidalee putting some damage onto this Tristana, but Tristana has so much lifesteal with the Stark's Fervor. That is 4 kills for 1 death, which is freaking huge. They finally killed Salsa, but Salsa was not the guy to kill. Salsa is freaking tanky. I don't know why they killed him first, but oh man. There we go. Dan jumping up in front, and he is going for Baron. This is going to be precarious. Now, Hotshot does know what's up. He does see this. He could potentially steal it with a spear, so we're going to see what happens. Graphic trying to get behind the Baron. Very good play. He's going to get behind the Baron, try to tank that spear shot. They don't know where Hotshot is, so it could potentially just be a steal from the Fog of War. And basically, the two teams do know both of them. Oh, and he goes for it. Cannot quite get it. Very good job. That Nunu actually saved Consume and Smite to make sure he could last hit that, which is really, really good stuff. He saved an ability called Consume, which just hits a single target for hefty damage, and Smite is just a single target minion-oriented nuke. So he's like, it's not 1,000 health, mine, and just grabs that. So now both teams have gotten a Baron. This game going on to the 45-minute mark. Both teams getting a Baron kill. This is looking very good for Epic Gaming now. Yeah, so Salsa's pushing himself. We should really force a team fight, and we'll get it. Like, we're in really, really heavy advantage. Dan is now super farmed with Stark's Fervor. We're super far ahead. Let's make this happen. So, both teams trying to get these objectives before the next fight. Baron obviously really big for Epic. But, Golem buff getting picked up for Hotshot. That's really big. Lizard is down. Yeah, so Golem buff picked up for Nunu as well. So everyone's just picking up their main objectives, getting these neutral buffs around the map, and it's going to be time for Dragon once more when both teams feel ready.
Talk to me a little bit about the late game at this point. You know, all the champions have reached max level or almost there, etc. You know, if you get the Baron, what can an opposing team do to try to swing things back in their favor? At that point, does it come down to individual skills and then how you're going to use those together as a team?
Yeah, the most important thing right now is going to be positioning. You know, everyone has their item builds. They're more or less equivalent. You know, everyone has, you know, their key items ready. Everyone has, you know, their key ultimates, you know, level 3 by this point for the most part. And so everyone sort of is going to be like, it kind of knows that each team fight could decide the game. If you win it overwhelmingly, you get Baron. If you win it overwhelmingly, at this point, you probably just push through mid and end the game.
Okay.
And so the Baron buff is more or less countered to some extent by defending at the turret. If you sit here at your turret, you have a really good chance of just defending there. But one problem for these guys, for CLG, is that once the turret hits a champion, it won't get up off that champion. So someone like Garen, who has 200 armor, who has 200 armor, has the ability to take even more damage with the activate on his W ability. Oh, they found Hawkshot. They've got to be a little bit careful. Oh, nice blood there, doing a lot of damage. And Garen now getting around the flank, and Hawkshot will get dropped down. Nice job by Salsa. That is positioning right there. He got caught in the open trying to farm that bottom lane. He was trying to go down. He was like, oh, look, some tasty minions. He got freaking owned for it. And that was just like, you're bad, dude. So they're going to group now here with this giant minion wave that's going to help them push this turret, because Dan has such huge range. He's going to come up here and poke this turret from like this line right here, and he's going to be like, oh, let me hit this turret from complete safety. And you can see CLG completely giving it up. They're going to camp up here at the next turret and say, you know, you got this, I feel you. We're going to wait for Hotshot to respawn because we kind of need him. So very good stuff here. They're coming up now onto this turret, and they will go for it. Dan Din turning on rapid fire, and just so much damage on this turret through the Janna shield, and pow, that goes down. So they're now onto the inhibitor. This could be the winning push for Epic Gaming. Again, that one positioning kill, and there's the push. So
right.
The inhibitor has gone down. They're now spawning super minions, which means that now at the 46-minute mark, when the next wave of minions spawn, we'll see a really big 2 like cannonball arm super creep coming around, which takes reduced damage from turrets, does like 200 damage a swing, has like 4k health, is like, I'm gonna push, dog, and you're gonna die to it.
Yeah, you don't want to run into this.
Yeah, he's pretty dangerous. So that's gonna spawn with every wave. So we see this wave spawn, right? 3 range mobs, 3 melee mobs, and the super creep. 190 damage. Not much armor to speak of, but 4,500 health, and takes half damage from turrets. Oh, so Epic makes a mistake letting top push itself just in the minions. As the game goes on, these minions do power up, and they start overpowering turrets themselves. So you'll see these lanes kind of push themselves and make players make these choices of, oh, well, do I farm this? Do I defend? Oh, are we going to give up Dragon for it? And so a lot of these choices start, you know, ramping up as the game goes on, because just stuff starts happening to you.
And how often is the Baron spawn again?
The Baron is an 8-minute respawn timer.
Okay.
So at I believe the buff lasts about 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. And so as this times out, we'll see 3 minutes until Baron comes back up. So we can kind of just watch Hararagi or Dan Din. And when that dissipates, we'll know, okay, in about 3 minutes, you know, it's going to be crazy again. But they're going to keep pushing, though. With Baron buff, with Guardian Angel on Nunu, with crazy damage on Dan. Right? He's got his elixir, he's got his green elixir going, which gives him attack speed and critical chance. So he's hitting like a truck just repeatedly. And they really could initiate probably on this turret, but again, that Amumu ultimate is going to pin them to it, and it's going to be very, very dangerous. So they're going to back up for now. But they really do have like such a really awesome team comp, because they have these really sweet like R button ultimates where you're just like, I press this button and channel and dudes die. They have 2 really beefy tanks in front. They have a really good support. Janna's really holding their team together. You wouldn't think it, because like, oh, you know, it's Johnny, she's pretty good, but like, she's holding these fights together. She's shielding Dan for bonus damage. She's popping her ultimate when they need to sort of reset the battle. She's slowing enemies down, crowd controlling them with her tornado. Like, she does a lot in these fights. She's really holding them together, and she's an awesome support team. They picked her very early on because they knew they wanted Janna. They just could have late picked Tristana as just like this great, awesome carry who's very, very safe and does scale really well with items. So Epic really playing a better game later on. Early on, you know, they lost these dragon fights constantly. They really didn't have the ability to fight dragon very well. I think actually the bottom lane was probably better for CLG, and even losing that Baron early on. But late game, they've just had such a really cohesive team comp that they have, you know, these really awesome hard carries with Tristana. With Vladimir as well, being such an exceptional caster now, 191 magic resist, just will not take damage to anyone but Ashe. And I think that's what happened last night, where you know, Vladimir was the one guy who died, which is Ashe going for it repeatedly.
So now that we've got these minions in the base of CLG, I mean, at this point, are you looking like game over? Because they got to deal with the minions. They can't really deal with the field at all because the minions could just destroy it.
Absolutely, yeah. So getting an inhibitor has like some good and bad benefits. So right now, the lane will always push, so this lane will always be in their base. So CLG will always be able to farm it. And of course, it takes a while. This thing is just not dying, right? And it keeps them in their base. But they have basically that lane is free for farming for the next 5 minutes until an inhibitor respawns, and it just is there, and it is your little pet gold farm. Which is awesome. Like, you can get a carry, farmed up really late game. If you screw up and you lose the inhib, you're like, well, we can farm it up and maybe be okay. But because you're stuck in your base like that, these objectives like Baron or like Dragon or even other turrets around the map start becoming really easy targets and really, they're really awesome to go for. And so, we saw that before where Epic, pushed the bottom lane, and they're just taking all the buffs across the map, and they know CLG has just zero map control. And you can see if you look at the mini map down here, I mean, CLG is maybe like a third of the way across the map, like maybe kind of. But you can see the minions, these green minions, the green minions are Epics, by the way, are just up here, up to the second turret at top, up to the second turret at mid, I mean, all the way in the base. So the entire, 85% of the map is just theirs. And so they're taking the jungle creeps, they're taking all the sigils, they're going to take Baron when it respawns, which is probably within about 2 minutes. And they're just like, yo, dog, we got map control. Like, we're gonna keep holding this. One thing I'm actually surprised about, though, is that they've actually not bought an Oracle's Elixir. 3 Sunfire Cape Garen. Oh, ouch. But they've not bought an Oracle's Elixir, which just gives your champion true sight until he dies, because CLG's been really good about warding. Uh-oh, and Baron's back. But CLG's been really good about warding stuff, and Epic hasn't been countering it with Oracles. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to actually try to push them out of positions. They're going to push this turret, and it's free, again, because they've been pushed so far back, they can't react very quickly because they don't know where they're going because they have no map awareness. But they're pushing them back into the base, and again, bottom is going to push down as well. And if they can get them zoned all the way back into the base, they can just kill Baron in like 10 seconds. And that's what we might see right here is, again, Neely's farming top, there's a couple of pings going on. There we go, they do have Oracles. Okay, Nunu did get Oracles, they did get that ward, so now they're winning the map control war quite well. Epic has sight of everything, they know what's going on, they're actually calling out strategies right now. Oh, there's the Hawk shot, they might see him. I think they do know they see him because they're hiding in this brush here, so they're going to back up for now. They know to be safe. Ashe just... Oh, Ashe picked up a Bloodthirster. There's a lot more bonus damage, and lifesteal is really huge for her. She really needs that lifesteal. That will help her pick up and stay up in these fights without a super huge dedicated support. Oh, man. So there's the clairvoyance. They do know what's going on. Baron does pick down Janna a little bit. They did try to go for the back Baron. Ooh, excessive, taking some damage. They got to be a little bit careful. Amumu is now up in their faces. They've got to be careful. Does take some damage. Oh, there's the ult that does hit Tristana. But here we go. Lots of damage going off Morgana. Does have her ultimate on. There's the Nunu ult, and they do catch Morgana. Morgana will go down. Very nice job there, but Sal's taking some shots. Oh, and Elements gets completely owned by the blood pool. Hotshot GG, very, very low, catches a nice heal, but GG in the middle of everything. Big fat GG now getting revived by his guardian angel, and there's a snowball to the face, and there's a flash, and down she goes. So now the entire team of Epic is ready to push top. Oh, Garen did pick down Needly. GG is called from CLG. We're going to be moving on to the final second game now. Epic Gamer winning game 1, the North American Grand Finals for League of Legends, pushing down these last 2 turrets, and there's the kill in the 52nd minute. Will kill this inhibitor, and the Nexus, obviously. And there is GG. Amazing play from Epic. Really good cohesive stuff. One more round. This time CLG will get to choose if they want first pick or first ban, and we'll see how that plays out. We can look at the scoreboard over here. Extremely good play by Sauce. 10-3 as Vladimir. Dan will take a lot of deaths. Just very good play. A lot of assists, a lot of kills. Not dying too much. Really good play.
So good game, and we're going on to a game 2, and that's, kind of like what we like to see in any sort of championship match. A lot of people going for the underdog there. But tell me a little bit, like, to you, what you saw, Freak, what were the defining moments? I mean, Epic got that first kill, and there was a question I wanted to throw in there before all the action got started, is like, how often does that first kill really dictate the flow of the game for a team?
It can. It's really weird. I really thought CLG was going to win that game because they were just winning in map control, and that is like the one skill you want when playing League of Legends. It's like, we're going to control the map, we're going to take all this stuff over, it's going to be great. But what ended up happening is, they gave up first blood, that kind of sucked, but like, I really thought they were going to just like keep the map going in their favor. They got the dragons, they got the first Baron, all that cool stuff. and then somehow they just stopped doing good things. I don't know if it was team comp. I think in doing the draft before the game, Team Epic was like, wait, they didn't pick Garen? We were expecting you guys to have Garen. This is awesome. Wow, sweet, we get Garen. And as it turned out, Garen just like jumped on Ashe every fight. And Ashe was their super hardcore carry, and I'm not really a big fan of Ashe as a big carry because she doesn't have escape mechanisms.
Right.
She's really awesome. You know, Hawk Shot is a great reveal. Her ultimate stuns. She has slows on demand forever. But she can't get away from anything.
Right.
So and Garen is the one champion who like can ignore CC and just be like, I'm Garen, chop you up. And he got to play that role. And I think really they were mistaken to pick Ashe that game. Like it just didn't do anything for them.
Now I also noticed that CLG really commenting on the Vlad and Nunu combo and saying it's destroying us. Like it's like tearing them apart. Was there anything that they could have done differently, or do you see now in a game like this where they need to make a champion comp change in order to possibly combat something like that?
Yeah, I'm expecting them to ban Vladimir next game. Nunu is not a typical ban choice. Like, Nunu's good, but he's not like, oh, you must get Nunu or you'll win. But, like, he's been the sleeper hit forever. And, like, Dan loves Nunu. Normally he plays him in tournaments, but he's their carry player for this tournament. So Araragi's playing him, but he's in love with Nunu. And I really like him, too. I think he's awesome. But he's not this like deemed OP champion. So no one counters him like hardcore. But yeah, in talking with them, I was talking with the groups of players before the game. Elements, who was playing Scion, who has a single target stun, a really awesome stun, was like, I just have to go for Nunu every game. I'm just gonna go for him because like he's gonna own us if he gets his ultimate. Like I just have to go for it. But Araragi made some really cool choices where he would always channel his ultimate inside the brush. Like there's brush in League of Legends where if you're inside it, you're in this like free patch of unless you're in the brush yourself, you can't see him. And just by channeling the ultimate, he doesn't reveal himself. You know, if you attack from brush, they'll see you, they'll throw back. But if you're just like, I'm just going to channel absolute zero, it'll go off. And so they had to like they couldn't find ways to get to him. And so we got so many really awesome ultimates. He would just like watch for like Nunu, he would just like watch for Scion and then be like, all right, R button, and just like crush. And it really, really worked well for him. It was really, really good play. And that was just all kinds of awesome.
All right. I don't know what the hell that was. I'm sorry about that. It kind of threw me off there. So, I mean, definitely it would be in their favor to try to break up that little duo that was just doing an enormous amount of damage on the team. And it looked like they actually dealt with it really well in like the mid game. But maybe you can explain this a little bit too. Is that you can see how the game really changes, how even some of the champions change from mid to late game. Where even you mentioned it, where some of the champions early on may not be, the super powerful uber champions that people expect to play, but as they go on and on, they really become the guys that you got to watch out for.
Yeah, and there were a few things that surprised me. So, like, Vladimir is one of the best laners in the game, but his laning, like, scales really hard. Like, early on, his main spell, Transfusion, is a really long cooldown. It's free, it heals him, it does damage. It's a freaking awesome spell, but the cooldown is, like, 15 seconds at level 1. So you're like, all right, I can Transfusion, I'm going to chill here, and then cast it once more per wave. And so we saw early on, his opponent, Ashe, Big Fat GG, was getting ahead of him. He was winning in minion kills. He was winning in map control. Like he was winning that lane in general. And as time wore on and Salz maxed out Vladimir's Q, he maxed out Transfusion. That was like a 3-second cooldown, spamming it all day.
Right.
Started taking
that, and that's the red spell, like ribbons that come out and come back.
Just like,
right.
Sucks life from the dude right away and it starts crushing. So that it started doing things from late game. So that lane transformed into awesomeness. And we saw early on in the bottom lane, Janna versus Garen, Janna and Garen is a great combo. Like you just won't die. Garen's spin scales off bonus attack damage, so Janna would just shield him and he'd be like, spin to win. This is awesome. And Morgana Scion were kind of hard pressed to land a stun, and they just sort of have to retreat basically constantly. And then finally, basically, I believe because Garen got the first kill, Epic got the first kill, so they finally got in a position where like their spin would do so much damage because the damage on that scales faster than their armor does. So it does more to their health than it would have, at level 9 compared to level 1. It gets better. And so they're like, all right, well now we can just blow you up because we'll just silence you and just go. And like with the tornado, we're just going to lead in and it'll be awesome.
Okay, so I think we're going to be setting up here for game one. You know what I would love to do? I was just kind of watching the chat. People like, okay, I've downloaded League of Legends now. Just like watching the stream, they're like, I'm ready to get into this. Any like starting champions that maybe you want to like throw out there? Hey, try this. If you just want to kind of get into the game
absolutely. So one thing we do, so you unlock content from in-game currency just from playing. You get IP influence points to unlock content. So there's most of our really easy champions are the really cheap ones. Champions like Ashe are like 450 IP. It takes like 2 games to unlock Ashe forever. Right. And Master Yi is another really easy one, and there's Annie as well. So those are 3 really big archetypes of like range DPS, melee DPS, caster. Soraka and Taric are really cheap and are really good support champions. And so if you want to remember those 5 names, Ashe, Master Yi, Annie, Soraka, Taric, Alistair, those are these really awesome champions who are really cheap, but like your role is very obvious to you, and it's very easy to do what you want to do. And Ashe is actually like the tutorial champion. You love the tutorial, and you're playing Ashe. You're like, I'm an archer. This is easy to do, right? And so absolutely. Also, you can filter and sort the champions. We have like 59 champions now, and there's a tag called like recommended, and it's like champions that are sort of recommended for newer players. They also have stats like, how good's my attack damage, how good are my spells, how is my difficulty, and they also have difficulty scores. So if it's really short, someone like Ashe versus Heimerdinger is pretty hard to play. So yeah,
and then by that matter too, because I like to play like the casters, you could sort by the different archetypes as well.
Yeah, so you can sort by type as well. You can just go into your summoner profile and look up every individual champion and read what their spells do and say, this looks really fun, this is cool. And so yeah, I mean, and if you want to go to the store and look for the cheap ones, those are the easy to play ones as well. And so those are things that I recommend. So if you sort of want to catalog like guys that you think are really cool. In addition, we also have a free-to-play rotation. Every week we switch 10 new champions that just like go for it. Doesn't matter if he's expensive or if he's cheap, whatever. Just like these champions are available. And if you go to the forums, it'll say, Ashe is available, who's range DPS. Annie's available, who's a mage. Taric's available, who's support. And it'll detail their roles. So if you're like, I want to play support. And you'll go to the forums and be like, new free-to-play rotation. Soraka and Janna are free this week for support. Those look fun. And you'll say, like, hey, this is a pretty fun champion. This is pretty sweet. In addition to that, we have a really good following. We have a guide section on our forum.
Right.
We have a lot of really cool fan sites who post guides everywhere, who post YouTube videos on how to play champions. We release how-tos as well for our new champions as well. If you want to just like go to YouTube and be like League of Legends and just like find all kinds of really awesome stuff. It's just we have a really, really active community who loves to help everyone out.
Awesome.
It's a really friendly community, and it's all kinds of great.
I think that's great. Anytime you're going to get that massive community support behind a game, and then of course you're going to have a developer that will embrace that sort of community support, even better. So it looks like the teams are getting set up. Obviously, there's some sort of strat discussion going on here, figuring out what's going wrong, deconstructing, the good, the bad from that last game. But I do think we are going to get started here in game number 2 shortly. Scoots, do we have an update? Yes? Okay.
The game has been hosted. None of the players are in the game just yet. When you manually refresh the list, you'll see the game. We're going to make sure that we get the bottom slot on our team this time so that all the players are on the scoreboard. Because Nunu actually had rejoined and was then below me on the scoreboard, and I couldn't look up his stats at whim.
So we'll let everyone join before we get in, right?
Yeah, basically. One of us can stay in and just swap back and forth, and then we'll just see it. Okay,
I'll let you.
Yeah, so I'll basically yell at you to join the game, and then we're good.
All right, well.